Hello and welcome to part 5 of the Moho crochet along. So this month's textured square is this little beauty. Oh, it's star stitch. It's one of my favourite stitches and it does get quite addictive. I know it looks quite intricate and at first it can be a little bit fiddly, but once you get into it you will be aware and you'll be a star stitch convert, I promise you. Right, so let's see what we need. So we've got our pattern, we need our yarn. I am using this nice green called Meadow. You might also have pistachio if you've got one of the kits from us. This is reflective of the grass that you're not meant to mow for May, for No-Mow-May, helping out the bees. So this is what your garden will look like by the end of May. Right, so we'll need some snips and then the hook size that we're working with. So star stitch is quite a dense fabric that it produces and it really does draw your edges in. So we're going up one size. So I'm going up to a 6.5 mil. All the others I've done on a 6. So we're going up half a mil for this square to give it just a little bit more flexibility. All right, let's get on with it. So if you are, we're going to chain 23. If you're making bigger squares, then you need the number that you want. So say you were doing them twice as wide as this, you'd want 43. Okay, so we need for our extra little chains at the beginning. So let's just put that out of the way here. And then we will start off. So we're starting with our slip knot as ever, tying our little slip knot there. And then we're going to chain nice and loosely. 23. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Right, so we've got our chain here. Okay, I'll just do a little zoomy in. So star stitch is a little bit different to lots of other crochet stitches because what we're going to do is going to pick up quite a few loops along here and then we're going to pull through all of them. So most stitches have that like round and through two motion. We don't really have that with star stitch. So your instructions say insert the hook in the second chain from the hook. So we've got working loop, first chain, second chain, and pull up a loop. So we put it through and just pull up a loop. I've now got 2 on my hook. And slide it up your hook and give it a nice wiggly wiggle. Get and make sure they're going onto the fat bit of your hook so that they're all going to have a nice uniform size. Okay, so it says then, so go in the next chain and pull up a loop. So we've been in that one. So I'm going to go in this one here, in the next chain and pull up a loop. And then it says do this until you've got 6 loops on your hook. So I've got 3. So I'll go in my next one. 4, 5, and 6. Holy moly. So then what we're going to do is, oh, I've got itchy nose, we then wrap our yarn around our hook and we pull through all 6. Now this can get a little bit tricky because there's a lot of loops here and they might get a bit stuck. So if you squidge them together a bit and then wrap and pull through all of them, we should look a little bit like this. Oh, delightful there, look at that. And then what we do is we chain 1 and this creates this, what we're going to call from now on, the eye. This bit here where all of your lines are looking at, this will become your eye. So the first stitch of every row is slightly different to the others because we've nothing to work into. From now on, this is how we'll do our stitches. We still want to end up with 6 loops before we pull through all of them. So we've got to pick up 5 extras after this one. So what we do is, the first one is you put your hook in the eye that you've just made. So in the eye and pull up a loop there. Okay, we're then going to go underneath just this front bar of the last spoke here and pick up a loop in there. We're then going to go into the chain, the very same chain that that last bar went into there. So we're going to pick up in this one here, pick up a loop. So now we've got 4 and then we do 1 in each of the next 2 chains. So 5, 6, do a quick check. 3, 6, lovely. Squidge them up your hook, pull them all together and round and through all 6 and chain 1 to create the eye. So you can see we're getting these lovely little star shapes forming here. So we carry on down the row in the same way that we've just done that second stitch then. So we go eye, bar, base, chain, chain. This will become your mantra. I buy base chain, chain. And then we've got our 6 loops on there. So we go wrap and through all 6 and chain 1. Lovely. Oh, it's such a nice stitch. Looks really nice in a variegated yarn as well. Right, so let's go again. So we go through the eye, under the front bar. Now notice I'm only going under this front bar. I'm not going through the bit at the back as well. I'm just picking up that strand. Bar, stitch at the base of the bar, first chain, second chain, 6 loops, wrap and pull through all, and chain 1. Lovely. So let's go again. Eye, speed it up a bit now. Bar, base, chain, chain, get some more yarn, and wrap and through all 6 and 1 chain. Let's go again. Eye, bar, base, chain, and chain. Lovely. Round and through 6, chain 1, eye, bar, base, chain, chain. This will change to stitch, stitch in subsequent rows when we're not working through the chain anymore. So eye, bar, base, chain, chain, through there, 1 chain, eye, bar, base, chain, chain, through there, and up here. Right, so I'm here, I've got towards the end of my first row. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stars, and I've got 1 chain left here. So I'm going to finish with a half treble in this last stitch there. Okay, half treble. Lovely. Like that there. Okay, so that is your first pattern row. So we're going to turn over and do the return row now, which is a nice and simple, much more predictable than the front one. So we do our 2 chain and we turn. Now this row we're going to do 2 half trebles in each eye. So in each one of these, this is where we're going to do our 2 half trebles. If you're struggling to see where the eyes are, flip it over and look at where everything is pointing, and then you're going into there. So that 2 chain there is going to count as our first half treble. So I'm going to go into this first one and do 1, 2 into there. Now we're aiming for the eyes. This can sometimes get a little bit misleading, this little bit here, because it will stick up a bit bouncier maybe on the top. And so people think, oh, I'll go into that one. No, we want to go into the bit that everything is pointing towards. So it's this bit here, not the bit on the top. This bit where all of these bars are pointing towards. Now we've started with 1. We've got 9 of those, so we know we've got 9 eyes. So we will have 18 stitches across those plus 1 there, and then we need 1 in the other end to get us back to our 20 count. Okay. So we go half treble, right in your eyes. And then there's my next one here. So it's where everything's pointing towards, not the big loopy bit that's appeared on the top for you. 1 and 2. And 1 and 2. There we go. So here now, you're Meadow. Right, so 2 in there. Where's my next eye? It's not there, it's there. Let's go in there. Oh, pulled it out, look. Honestly. Right. So next eye is here. Everything's pointing towards that bit there. And what these half trebles will do is round off the sort of star shape on the other side. Just to give it a little bit of a deeper pattern. It's lovely. So that was my last eye there. And then, again, I don't want to go into this bit at the top here. I want to go into the top of this like chain that was wove there. So half treble, it's a bit like going through your little toe. It's a bit tight. Make sure you go underneath 2 strands. Round and through all 3. We do a quick count, so we've got 20. Now half trebles, when you count them, look a bit different. So this bit here, we've got our 2 chains here. This one at the top is part of this first half treble, even though it looks a little bit separate from it. It looks like it's sitting separate. This is the way that half trebles look. Because we've pulled through all three, there gets a bit of a gap. So this here is your first 2 chain, your turning chain. So that counts as 1, and then this would count as your second stitch. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Hooray! Right, so we're on to now the first proper pattern row as the rest of the piece will be made. So we start with a 3 chain. Okay, so the other row, that row starts with a 2 chain. This one starts with a 3 chain, and then we turn. The first stitch is slightly different to the other stitches, like we said before. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up in our second chain from the hook. So I've got working loop, first chain, second chain. So pick up a loop. 1 in the 3rd chain as well. There's some sort of going through the back loop of the chain. Then we go through the stitch at the base. So that's this one here. And then we go through the next 2 stitches, don't we? Stitch, stitch. We check, we've got our 6 loops on our hook, 2, 4, 6, delightful. Wiggly wiggle, wrap and pull through all 6, and chain 1. So from then on, it's very, very similar to what you were doing before, except instead of going through chains, we're going to be going through stitches. So we go I, bar, base, stitch, stitch, 6 loops, wiggly wiggle, round and through all 6. And chain 1. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way along to the end, making our 9 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So picking up 5 extra loops on each stitch. There we go, wiggly wiggle, round and through all of them, going I, bar, base, stitch, stitch, and round and through 6. 1 chain. I, bar, base, stitch, stitch, round and through 6, 1 chain. Oh, I'm all tangled up. I, bar. Now remember, we're just going underneath this front bar. We don't want to pick up this loop at the back as well. We just want to put our hook just underneath that front bar. Bar, base. It can be tempting to stick it in a bit deeper, but you lose a bit of the stitch floofiness. There we go. So I, bar, base, stitch, stitch, like that. I, bar, base, stitch, stitch, and up. And then we're on to our last one. I, bar, base, stitch, stitch. Oh, getting there. Round and through there, and 1 chain. So then if we just have a quick look, when you think you're ready to do your chain, your turning chain at the end, just have a quick look at it, because we want to make sure we've got the right number of stars. So we've got star, 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 star. So we're ready for our turning chain. So we should have 9 stars. And I'm going to go through the top of this little chain up there underneath those 2 strands, lovely, and round and through all 3 for my half treble. Okay, so you do get this little like a bit of a bulge from the row that you started on. That's just because of the nature of like the chain and what we're working through, so don't worry about that. Right, so let's start our next return row. So we do our 2 chain and turn, and now remember, so we're going to go into this, we're starting in the eyes, and we want 2 half trebles in each eye. So this is my first one, that's counting over there. So we go 1, 2. Oh, hang on, my wool's all tangled up. Oh no. Right, okay, so where's my next eye? There it is. Right, 2 in there. And we are aiming for 20 half trebles. So 1, my turning chain counted as 1, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, bit more yarn. 14, 15, 16, 17, where's my final eye? There it is. 18, 19, and here is where I'm aiming for, this little toe, not that bit on the top there. For my 20th, it will be tight. Oh, lovely. There you go, look. Star stitch is really nice stitch for blankets, like baby blankets in cotton, especially in a variegated yarn, because you just get these like multicolored stars and they're beautiful. But whatever yarn you are using, always use a hook one size bigger than recommended, at least one size bigger than recommended, because as you can see, it does create quite a dense fabric, so you want to make sure you've got nice drape by giving it plenty of flexibility by going up a hook size. Right, so that's just your 2 pattern row repeat. So we do a row, if you can see the star shape facing you, you are on a row, a star row. Can't remember what I'm talking about. So if you can see the pattern, you're on a star row. If you can't see the pattern quite as nicely and you get this sort of slightly more ridged effect, then you are on a return row and you're doing your half trebles. So we're going to carry on with this. I will leave you now and just finish this off, and I will see you again when we have our square. All right, see you in a bit. Right, so I am at the end of my square now. So I've finished at the end of a return row, and so now we need to do our favourite border. Now you all love it. You will do when you come to join it together and you see how handy it is. I know that I keep going on about it, but honestly it does make the joining together so much more, I won't say easy, just predictable. So we're aiming for, we want 20 slip stitches. Remember, we're going to keep them nice and loose. Now, if you are, after a few rows, when you've been doing this, if you find that it is much smaller than your other squares, then it might be even worth going up another hook size. So if you look at this at the moment compared to other squares, particularly some of the smaller ones, so let's see if we put it, so don't worry. So it's like, it's pretty much perfect with April's. May is a little bit of a bigger one. February is a little bit smaller, so it's somewhere around these sizes. As long as it's not like teeny weeny, it will all wiggle into shape, so don't worry. Right, so let's get our border on the go. So we need to do this with the right side facing us. So we're going to do our 1 chain, and remember, we keep this nice and loosey goosey. You're going to have to crochet through these slip stitches, so the looser the better. So we're going to do 20 across this top one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's carry on along here. We just keep going nice and loosey goosey. Lovely jubbly. Now we know we had 20 stitches, so we don't need to do any jiggery pokery along this edge like we have done on previous ones. We can just do our lovely border. So we go here. Now it might just look, it's this end might be a little bit confusing, because we said before, didn't we, that the half trebles, they can be a little bit deceptive. So that, although that chain there, let's have a little zoom in, shall we? Although that chain, so this, I've got a stitch here, and that one there looks a bit like it's the top of the turning chain. It's not, it's the top of that stitch there. So we still need 1 in there, 1 in there, and 1 in the top of the turning chain. So let's do a quick count and make sure we've got 20. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Lovely. Right, chain 1. Okay, so what we've got here is, if you have a look, we've got 6 rows of star stitch. So that tells me that this midpoint here, that is going to be my halfway point. So I need to get 10 slip stitches in this side of the stitch marker and 10 in that side. So if you think we've got 3 rows, so we're wanting roughly 3 slip stitches across the end of each of these to give us the 9. So if we put 1 in the top here, it's quite a nice one to keep an eye on, this one. So we do 1 in the same one that we've been in there. And then by the time I get to here, I want to have done 3. So let's go, we'll have 1 in there. Ooh, nice and loosey-goosey, remember. We'll have one in there. We'll do, I'll go one, can't see a thing, in there, 2, and then we'll have one in between these 2 little bits here. Come on. Oh, I hate having rubbish nails. 3 there. So that's me 3 across that one. So if we then go, we'll go 1. So that's. So if we counted the first one, that was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is. I can't count today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. And then we'll go, I'll go down there, I went too low, 9 and 10. Lovely, and I'm at my halfway point there. So let's take that one out, down the other side. So we'll have 11, let's go in that bit, 12, oop, 12 and 13. Let's go 14, 15, 16, that's tight, and then we'll have 17, have another one in there, 18, 19, and 20. Now don't worry if this edge, when you've done it, looks a little bit wiggly like this, okay? When we stitch them together, they will all be beautiful and poker straight. Right, so 1 chain. So we've got 20 across this top, so this should be quite nice and simple because we know we've got 20 chains somewhere. So 1, 2, 3. Get that out of the way. 3. And then 4, 5, 6, try and go under 2 strands on this one, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Now this corner will look a bit rounded because that's where you started your first one, and I said it looks a bit different to the other, so this will help to level it out. So we do our 1 chain, so 1 into the same one, so you can put your stitch marker in again if you want to mark where your halfway point is. And again, we're aiming for like roughly 3 across the top of each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come on, and 6, and oh, it's tight down this end, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Come on. Oh, 10. Okay, take out my stitch marker, and then we'll go 11, 12, 13, 14, and that one there, 15, and then 16, 17, 18, 19, Oh, this nail definitely is earning its money today. 19, and then we want one in the same one as the first one you started in on the round, 20. We do our 1 chain. Remember, we do our snippy. Lovely. We take our sewing needle. Lovely. Stretch that up all the way across there, and then we do our invisible join. Remember, so we'll go in, we want to pick it. I want to zoom in a bit. Ooh. There we go. So we're aiming for to go underneath both sides of this here. All right, so we go underneath there like that. So this is my first slip stitch that I did. That was my chain there, through there, and then back down through there, and then we've got our little chain. Lovely. Right, so we can then, now star stitch is quite a nice one to sew through because it's quite a dense fabric, like we've been saying all along. So you just want to, let's have another look at this. So I'm going to go down here, and then I've got my legs of my 2 half trebles there. I can go through them. Lovely. And what you also get is you get this really nice, so if you can even, you work it around like this. Oh, I've zoomed right in now, haven't I? You could sew under one of these, like well, one of the back of one of your stars. You can get your eyes to go through. Might have zoomed in a bit too much here. Is it terrifyingly huge? So we go all the way around a star like this, and then up there. Lovely. So I've sewn it like around that loop there basically, and then snip it off. So let's have a quick look at the other end. We've got this one to sew in. I will zoom out a bit. It's looking a bit scary, that, isn't it? Attack of the giant crochet. Right, okay, so down here it's a little bit less dense because that was where we started off. So we'll go down there a bit, thread it down, get it towards an eye is what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for this bit here. So I'll go down to here and pull across there. That'll do. And snip it off. Clear your working area and prepare to marvel at your star stitch beauty. Oh, look at that. I bloody love it. Right, let's have a real zoom out and then we can see next to some of the others. So we're starting to get our texture library looking let's have a switcheroony there. So we're I was going to say we were halfway through then, but I'm just a numpty. So we are nearly halfway through. We are 5/12 of the way through. I don't think that can be broken down anymore in fractions, can it? Nope, 5/12. We'll go with that. So, as ever, if you've got any questions, give us a shout. This is one of the more tricky ones, but once you get into the rhythm of, just remember you're going to go I, bar, B, stitch, stitch, I, bar, B, stitch, stitch. And people will think that you are some sort of chanting sorceress. Right, so yeah, give us a shout if you've got any questions. If not, get crocheting, and we will see you in the Facebook groups and wherever else you want to get in touch with us. And thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.